Hi, this is Nicole from the Right Habit podcast. And today's episode, I feel like I'm almost whispering, is about a secret tool that I've been using for years now. It's called automatic writing. And I can't even tell you how much this has changed my life. It has completely changed how I make my decisions, how I have trust in myself, how I feel like I'm not alone in this writing and coaching and life journey. And I've been hiding that tool. Automatic writing is often seen as something spiritual. Some people think you are channeling from God or the universe. Others feel that they are channeling from the subconscious or from their inner guidance. And this is not something for me as a former journalist and academic that I felt comfortable trying, but I also found it really hard to talk about it because as someone who is very logical and rational, you don't want to tell people that you're not just journaling, but you are getting into meditative state and you have conversations with your subconscious and your inner guides, your future self. And I've been feeling kind of insecure about this tool, automatic writing, even though it is the number one life-changing tool for me. And I wonder why don't I tell more people? And I think the reason is that it is slightly spiritual. It is sidestepping the rational thinking, the planning, the goal setting that I'm known for with the Right Habit Planner and my courses, everything I do. This is very different. And I needed to really develop that relationship with my subconscious, my inner guidance, this sort of whole first tiny step into the spiritual world, into maybe more presence and awakening. I needed to really take my time with it and see what it does for me in my life before I tell anyone else about it. Now, in this episode, I'm giving you a conversation that I had with Paddy Dunda from the Superpower School podcast. I actually went on the podcast thinking I was going to talk about journaling. And when you go to the full episode, you will see that I will talk a lot about journaling and goal setting and how to write a blog post and all these things. But Paddy also teased out my actual secret superpower, which is automatic writing. This is really the first time that I opened up about this practice. And I wanted to give you that raw and excited and almost baffled version where I'm having this conversation with Paddy, who was so gentle and curious and excited about this weird tool. He asked exactly the right questions and got me into a state where I felt I can share this finally. And you will learn, by the way, that automatic writing is the approach that helped me quit my academic job when my brain said you cannot give up a tenured position at a university and a safe salary. My automatic writing told me to stop. So let's just dive in, and Paddy's gonna kick it off asking me questions, and then we get right into the automatic writing.
Hey, Nicole, thank you so much for joining me today. And I want to know what superpower you're going to bring to this particular episode.
I'm going to bring the superpower of automatic writing, which is a very special type of writing that has nothing to do with normal writing, typing, or journaling.
Oh, now that's interesting. And it doesn't involve AI.
No, it involves you, yourself, your pen, paper, and your subconscious.
Oh, brilliant. Right. Now I'm listening.
This is where you write and meditate at the same time. It's really a bit weird. I can tell you exactly how it works, but this is sort of writing where you go a little bit deeper into your subconscious and you turn off that constant thinking part of your brain where you think, is it good enough? Am I a good writer? Does it sound good? You turn all of that off and you will get insights that you wouldn't have gotten if you sit there very rationally thinking through what you're going to write now.
So, Nicole, if I wanted to practice this way of writing, could we do a quick example, or is there some examples you can give us that you've used with others?
Yeah. So automatic writing is a very simple practice, which opens up the communication between you and your subconscious. And that's the whole idea, right? You tap into your intuition and find clarity. So the easiest step to start, if you want to do automatic writing, you put pen and paper next to your bedside table, on your bedside table, and maybe put an alarm clock, maybe 10, 20 minutes before you usually get up. Because the nice thing is when you start journaling or automatic writing while you are still sleepy. Hopefully all this thinking hasn't started yet. Oh, I need to do this today. This is what you can figure out later when you do your goal setting. But automatic writing is meant for you to bypass all of that. So get up a little bit earlier. It's okay if you're sleepy. It's actually really good. And then see how you can get, as a step 2, into meditative state. Now, some people are already really great meditators. They maybe do a 10-minute stillness meditation, count to 10 in their head repeatedly, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, up until 10 again and again. I'm not so good at that. So I put on my headphones and I go on Spotify or anywhere else and I look for theta wave music. So theta waves are really helpful to get into, let's say, a meditative state. So you just put on that music. It's very early in the morning, and then you can start envisioning. So when I go into automatic writing, I envision that I have a team of guides around me. So I'm not envisioning my brain and the subconscious. I actually like to envision people, and I can highly recommend it when you're starting. So I envision an older version of myself, my future self. So older Nicole, 10 years from now, much wiser and much more relaxed than me, who knows all the answers because she's been there. And I envision some of my favorite authors, Julia Cameron, Elizabeth Gilbert, meditation teachers, Tara Brach. So I envision a few inspirational people around me. And you can even envision, dead relatives if you like, someone who has been a mentor to you. It really doesn't matter. You just close your eyes and envision them coming into the room with you, compassionately sitting next to you. And once you have your team assembled around you, this is all made up, right? This is just happening in your head. Then you can start asking questions. And I'm using the questions by Michael Sandler, who wrote a book about automatic writing. And the first question to ask is, what do I need to know today? The second question is, who am I? You'd be very surprised what you get. And the next question is, what is my single-minded purpose today? So maybe there is something that you really need to get done today. And it's not about goal setting. It's more about, often I hear things like, you need to rest. Nicole, you need to do less today. Or don't forget your child needs you after school. Things like that. And so you ask the question, you write down the question, what do I need to know today? With your pen and paper. You are still in meditative state. You take deep breaths and you answer whatever comes. And I promise you, in the beginning, you will probably feel a bit stupid doing it, right? It'll feel awkward. You just start writing. And if you can't write, you just do a little doodly thing and then some words will appear. And if you're lucky, some loving and kind messages appear. Most of the time, you're in the beginning, you're not quite sure if you're doing it right, but something will come. I can promise you, I've written so many journals. When I started, I felt like this is never going to work. Something will happen. You write it all down and then you ask a few more questions. You close it down. You say thank you. You can envision your spiritual guides or your inner team leaving the room again if you wanted. Then you take a breath, open your eyes, and then you have a look at what you've written. Because most of the time you might not remember because you were in meditative state. And then you have written 2-3 pages of something that might very much surprise you.
I sometimes, when I'm about to go to sleep, I'll be reading something on my phone, and it's that moment where I'm so sleepy and I'm trying to make out the words, and yet my mind's drifting, kind of in that meditative state then. And I can imagine if I was writing stuff down, what sort of things would come to my mind. That would be really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll have to try it that way around to see what my brain constructs in that moment, because that would be super interesting. How long does it take for someone to go from kind of zero to really starting to kind of make progress with this technique?
I would say try it for a week. Often in the first week, I used to be quite insecure. I wasn't sure if I was doing it right. Sometimes things would come and I would think, well, that sounds quite harsh. That was maybe more the inner critic speaking, right? And then when I read it later, I needed to realize, oh, this is probably not my benevolent, compassionate, subconscious speaking. This is the ego jumping in and wanting to make me feel bad. There's a moment of wondering, but it's a practice, right? As always, I always think that 21 days, if you can get to 21 days, usually the habit is established. That's a good time span, right? It's not too long, not too big, but also not too little. But yeah, if you're just starting, I would say try it for a week and just see how you feel. And because that's even more important than the messages you get or the insights and the intuition that comes out. What I love even more is how I feel while I'm doing it. So I feel very calm. I feel connected. I feel a sort of warm feeling in my chest. I feel quite spacious, and I'm not in that hustling state of doing this and doing that and fulfilling all my goals and thinking about the business. And I'm just in the state where which is meditation, basically, right? In presence. I just feel like I can totally let go. And I love that state, especially first thing in the morning when you want to, start checking your socials and look at your email while you're still in bed. It is so unhealthy, right? And I don't do it perfectly. Yeah, I skip days as well. When I do it in the morning, and I just did it this morning, my automatic writing this morning told me do less, put less on your plate. All the while in the day, I'm like piling things onto my calendar. My automatic writing says, hey, you need a break. Right. And so I would never tell myself that while I'm in the busy day from meeting to meeting. But my automatic writing told me that, and I could create that because I was in such a calm and connected state.
That actually brings me on to my next question, which I think you may have somewhat answered, because I was thinking about what are the benefits of this approach and how can people practically use it to help them in their daily life?
Yeah. So many benefits. For example, it helps you make decisions from a deeper wisdom and not from fear and stress. So, for example, when I was burned out as an academic, I had a 10-year job. You do not want to let that go. But at the same time, I knew it. I was not well. It was not the right place for me to be in. But I was afraid having no salary. What would be my follow-on job? Am I going to be a failure? So I wouldn't let me quit. And so I started automatic writing around that time to find some new, potentially slightly spiritual or like slightly wacky things to try. And in my automatic writing, it's told me very clearly, let it go. You are not healthy. You're not loving it. There is so much more coming. If you just leave that job aside, new amazing things will happen for you. If someone had told me that in my day-to-day sort of rational thinking, would have been like, yeah, I don't care. I need salary. But the automatic writing kept going back to that. It kept saying, you are not happy. You don't need to do this job. You are a wonderful, wise woman who can do a million other things, who is creative. And it really encouraged me to do that. And this is how I found that direction. I did manage to quit, and I had developed that sort of trust that this direction that is shown to me in my automatic writing will lead me to something positive. I'm so much happier, and I would have never found that direction. I would have never bypassed all the fear if I hadn't done automatic writing. So that's one thing, right? That's making better decisions that come from inner wisdom. Another one, I think a lot of people that do automatic writing just feel healthier. They feel more balanced because it's a way of watching your energy. It's a way of watching, are you going in the right direction? Do you need more relaxation and self-care? All these things tend to come out during that automatic writing session. And the third thing is it made me more creative. So I'm writing a novel and poems, and I'm feeling that my nonfiction writing is also quite creative. I have a ton of amazing ideas in my automatic writing for a new story, or even just actually a creative approach to my business. I feel like I want to create a new course for writers, and I can't figure it out. And I'm sitting there trying to think it through, and it's just not coming. I go in my automatic writing. A few days later, boom, this is what you should do. I found an innovative solution that I didn't find before. I was just like clinging on to the thinking and problem solving. And it didn't work on that level. I had to go into the subconscious. So those are just a few.
You've gone quite deep there, because I was just thinking, oh, maybe you feel happier, but actually it can really help you with your idea generation, your creativity, as you mentioned. And I think those are all really important things. That's what we need to be doing. We're constantly told, be more innovative, but no one tells you how. So a great skill to have. Thank you so much, Nicole. It's been such a pleasure talking to you. I've learned loads. And I selfishly use this podcast for my own learning, if I'm honest. And if it helps others, then brilliant.
This is Nicole back in the studio. I hope this gave you a taste of what automatic writing can do for your life, how it has changed my life, what the benefits are, and how to do it. Because it's really so simple, and at the same time, it's life-changing. And if you just remember the bigger goals for your life, maybe you are a creative person who wants to have new ideas and find things that not everyone does, something original. Automatic writing can help you with that. And maybe you've been feeling that you need to take better care of yourself, maybe your health, or maybe the way you do your business or you do your job, but you've never really taken the time to go deeper into how do I want to live this life? How do I want to create my career? Automatic writing can help you with that. And maybe you are like me and you have a really, really hard time making decisions. I'm exactly like my mom. We ponder forever and never really get to the decision that we want to make. And maybe you are the same. Maybe you need to develop trust and open a little bit of space for unconventional ideas, or even ideas and decisions that seem completely illogical. But when you are in a very calm meditative state and you're blocking out everything, all the conditioning from society, everything that you are telling yourself you ought to be doing, and you just listen to your inner guidance and become 100% aligned with yourself, I wonder what decisions you are going to make in your life. And yes, automatic writing can help you with that. I feel very emotional when I talk about this. I have a stack of pieces of paper and now notepads where I am doing my automatic writing every single day. And I just wish that anyone who's interested in journaling, in exploring, would take the next step and just up-level that access to your subconscious and find out what you can do with it. And I really want to encourage you, if you want to go deeper and give this a try it right after this podcast episode. And then when you feel tickled, when you feel a pull, yes, I want to know more. I want to know better what the setup is. I want to get the music that Nicole is talking about. I want to find out what these secret messages are that Nicole is receiving. Check out my program on automatic writing. The information is in the show notes. And just give it a try.